Show me a garden that's bursting into life.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who's Beats, girl KylerB coming at you for a new video. So today we're going to be talking about Maxton Hall Season 2, and let's get right into the video because there is so much to really talk about. So in Season 2 of Maxton Hall, it started off a big bang with like how the season opener was. Yeah, basically James basically crashing out over his mother's death. Obviously how they left things off, like they had an argument before she died. You know, he's crashing out. He's now left with Mortimer. So obviously he didn't want to, I guess, you know, basically, you know, drag Ruby down by telling her about what he was going through. So he like didn't tell her, started crashing out. She's on, obviously doesn't know what was going on until, you know, he was expected to show up to school. No one knows where he was. So everybody's like, oh, where's James? Where's James? Where's James? They finally find James at this party over here kissing Elaine. And the thing that's just such really the audacity of James was that he might have been drunk, but he was sober enough to see and realize like Ruby's right in front of him, and he kissed, made out of Elaine right in front of Ruby, obviously upsetting her because granted that they weren't officially together, but obviously how things that they left things off back in Oxford, that they were going to start anew, you know, basically start something good, a relationship together, whatever. But obviously him doing that with Elaine basically was like, you know, a stab, you know, really to Ruby's heart. So she just kind of like, she still doesn't know that his mother's dead. He's crashing out because of that. He was just like, oh, like you just messed with me. Like we did all that in Oxford and now, you know, you just wanted to be cruel and kiss Elaine. So Lydia, she obviously knows that what's going on and she's trying to be there for her brother. Mortimer, he trying to be there too, but he's also trying to like keep this family front to obviously, you know, the press and whatnot, because obviously, you know, young Burford, whatever, their company, you know, has to still look good. So anyways, you know, crashes out, they have the funeral, he gets into a car crash. The episode 1 ends with the car crash, which was like, whoa. By the end of episode 1, Ruby finally knows about the you know, the death of his mother. So she tried to have sympathy, but then suddenly she realized, yeah, you just basically, you know, your mother dying doesn't really excuse your actions of being, you know, that way to her. So she tries to be there, but then obviously, you know, when she tells him that you need help because obviously he's drinking, taking pills, all of that, you know, you need help, he lashes out at her, tells her to leave. So it's just kind of like, okay, well, you want me to leave? After you did that to me, I'm trying to be there for you, then there it is what it is. You know, obviously, you know, he starts finally listening to what Ruby's saying. You know, he does go to get help, you know, goes to therapy, basically talks about his feelings and everything like that. And then he tries to win Ruby back because he realized like Ruby was one of the best things that he had going for him in his life, because obviously his father is unbearable and this and that. Lydia, she's also obviously going through that she is preggo with Graham's, Mr. Sutton's kids, but they can't be seen together, can't be together anymore. And obviously you have these dreams and aspirations of being this like professor, teacher, whatever, you know, with tenure. And it's just kind of like, you know, student-teacher relationships. She's now preggo of kids, and then she finds out that it's not just one kid, it's 2 kids. And had the, you know, idea to say she wants to not have the kid. Essentially, you know, the fact that she's having 2, she's basically saying like, well, since her and James are twins, therefore this is probably a sign, you know, for her to keep them, whatever. Anyways, you know, she decides to keep the kids, but obviously she still can't tell you know, Sutton, because obviously he's getting approved, he's getting appointed to new positions, getting approved to new positions, whatever. So she doesn't want to break his dream. So she's kind of keeping it to herself. She can't tell her father because her father wants their family to have this type of like certain image, and she's trying not to, add another thing to her father's plate. So she's trying to hold it together for her family, hold it together for James, hold it together for her father, keep the image. But obviously when she was getting her ultrasound, and missing in action, when they had this basically, unscheduled meeting, and the father wanted her there, her phone was on do not disturb. So it was just like her one chance that she had to show up for her father. She was obviously doing something else that was important, and she can't tell him about it. So therefore, once again, disappointed in her father, they are relying on James. James is now back to being in the father's good graces, whatever. But now James wants to get Ruby back. Ruby, she's just like, let me focus on myself, let me focus on my work. You don't need James, you can have to focus on yourself. You work so hard for Oxford, you work so hard in Maxton Hall, you're at the top of your classes, you're doing great with, basically planning events, charity events, galas, whatever, that the principal basically forcing you to do another charity event that you already had so much on your plate, which was like crazy work, because she did all that event planning for the principal and had to raise $40,000. Like, hello? Like, she they can't ask her to, they can't, she couldn't ask the parents to sponsor it because they already sponsored the school. So I'm like, where's she gonna find 40 pounds from? So she had to come up with these ideas, and if it wasn't James sponsoring like the last 19,000 or so for the gala, they would have been out of luck. They knew the whole situation, designed everything. She asked him, do you know how to turn on the lights? He talking about, oh, you gonna tell me how to run my own school? Basically messed up the light situation, burned down their whole decorations, and they had maybe 4 hours to plan the whole event. They planned the whole event, they do the whole situation, and it was just like, okay. The lady was like, oh, you did great, blah, blah, blah. Did all that work for Oxford. She gets into Oxford, like, congratulations, Ruby. Like, all your hard work pays off finally. Gets into Oxford. She's in Oxford. Everything's going well for her. She had this charity event, which is a guy who basically had the similar background that what James is kind of going through, that, he had everything, and then he lost it. Because of, like, obviously drinking, crashing out, whatever, pills, whatever. He lost his house, home, family, friends, So, basically, James is realizing, like, this could be his future if he goes down the same path as him. So, he goes to speak at this event, charity. He, dips, doesn't show up. So, therefore, James speaks out on it. And basically this whole hardened image of like, oh, you have to be stoic, no crying, no showing emotion, goes flat, because everybody except for Elaine, Mortimer, his father, and Elaine's father did not clap for him after he said what he had to say. So Ruby's like, really touched by it, because it's just kind of like, you're finally being a different James, like you're finally showing your emotion, you're finally doing something different. So she kind of was like, in that episode 3, Ruby was about to, she was about to fold so hard for James. And it was just kind of like, he's kind of be like, he's trying to let her know that he's different now. He's not the same old James that's going to like lash out or, turn to drugs or drinking or whatever. Anyways, the father's just like, oh, Ruby's such a bad influence on him, doesn't want Ruby with him, So the father's like, nah, you need to stay away from Ruby, you need to stay away from Ruby. So then episode 4 comes, which was a really good episode. They're supposed to keep their relationship on a DL, not tell anybody. It's supposed to just be for them. So as soon as they said that, they go to this little picnic thing, because Elaine thinking she can spin the block and get James back. James I don't want nothing to do with you. No. So basically they come to this event because Elaine was jealous, insecure, was like, oh, everybody's invited to this event. She tried to drug Ruby and her best friend. And obviously she only ended up drugging, the best friend, the other one, that's the best friend on LaCroix. Let's talk about Cyril, Elaine, Mortimer. They need to go ASAP rock, because they really made Ruby feel like the worst this season. And the fact that Cyril was basically trying to say, oh, James and Ruby, his involvement with Ruby is the reason why he lost the game or the reason why, oh, he's not doing good in lacrosse. Mind you, it's not James's fault that you're not good with academics part. You're supposed to be a student athlete. Because you weren't doing well as a student, you relying on James, and even without James as an athlete, you wasn't really doing that well. They said if you do good at this last game, James even showed up for you. He missed a big meeting, whatever, to show up for you. You couldn't even dap him up properly. You didn't dap him up at all. Whatever. They lost a game. Because of you thought you were going to be the big old, big hero person who scores a point. You could have passed the thing to James and got the point in. No, you didn't do that. You decided to try to, show it off and act like you know what you were doing. And you missed the ball, got tripped up, and you lost the game. And it was on you. You trying to blame it on James, saying, oh, because James wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, James's mother died. He was going through it. You didn't show up for him once. If it wasn't for Alistair showing up for him or actually caring about him or really holding it down for him, you wasn't showing up for him once. You were trying to take his, team captain position, which you kind of did. And at the end of the day, it's your fault that they lost. So Cyril, he needed to go, and him trying to blame it on Ruby. And then at the end of the day, James still apologized to him, saying like, you know what, I apologize not for being there as a friend. I'll try my best. But mind you, Cyril was an op because he took a picture of Lydia and Sutton, and they still have that picture in their grasp. Now Sutton, you knew good and well, you get into a board meeting, whatever, you should have asked point blank, hey, what picture do you have, or who's in this picture, like, let me see, like, what's the tea. He didn't do that. He decided to admit everything without even seeing what picture, what type of evidence they have. Mind you, the evidence was none. He admit to the board that he does have a relationship with a student, but it wasn't that student. So now he lost his job over something that it wasn't even in the context of, and now Ruby lost her scholarship. Ruby lost everything. Scholarship, Oxford, suspended her. They Mortimer basically made a deal with their parents' bakery shop, and basically they sold the bakery shop. So now the mother's out of a job. Literally had no money to, almost had no money to name, because now she doesn't have a job. She just has like the pension pack, and therefore she doesn't even have college anymore, even though she got in, and now she's suspended from Maxton Hall for nothing. Because more, I don't even know how he even got onto James's computer or into his files, but I don't know. I guess he took his computer, or he has some type of access, backdoor window that he's able to access whatever James has on his phone. Found the picture of, Sutton and Ruby on there from season 1, and it just really came back to bite Ruby really in the butt. So Ruby just really lost everything, and her mom warning her and saying getting involved with Buford's is gonna be like you're entering their world. And obviously the fact that she had a scholarship from the people that she worked her butt off to do this whole gala for and everything, and she took back the scholarship. That Campbell Lee took back the scholarship. Basically now she had to find a way to do an application, ran her butt off to send in her application thing, all for nothing. Which is I'm just they really if Ruby has her villain origin story, that's her villain origin story, because it's just getting involved with James. And I'm just now with this whole will situation with the mother, everything is left to the father. That I feel, that's definitely giving rigged, because I don't think James and Lydia's mother gave everything to the father, especially with the sister that was trying to be a part of their family's life for all this time. They need to contest that will. He has control over everything. He has control of the Campbell situation. He has all the money, so they can't even go off on their own and do whatever they want to do, because he had, according to the will, he has all the money. Mind you, it was the mother's business at first, and then because his friend decided to stop funding them, he decided to be it's all James's fault because he's with Ruby. Mind you, you're trying to be progressive of your company. And you're using young Buford, and you're saying because James decided to be emotional and decided to tell his feelings that because he did that, that's the reason why their numbers are dropping. And then you decided to make Buford back to being 40 plus. So why do you need James for? James is not 40 plus. He's like 18. Like what are we talking about? You want James to be a part of young Buford and give progressive ideas, but you want your target audience to be 40 plus. So what do you need James for if you already got it down packed that this is your audience is basically older men to have this prestige? Like, yeah, Maxton Hall season 2 is just like, I already knew a season 2 of a type of like rom-com, not even really a rom-com, but like some type of love story, romantic love story. It's always going to be like The Summer I Turned Pretty had the same situation. Season 2 was like, you went through it, obviously with Belly and Conrad, and now this one, you go through it with James and Ruby. Like, they went through it, they found a little something in episode 4, which was really their best episode because they finally made it official that they're, finally boyfriend and girlfriend, which was great.
Du wirst die Welt verändern, Ruby.
Good Nacht, James Beaufort.
Good Nacht, Ruby. Jemima, pal.
But then, Storm came and turned everybody back. The father finally showed, his kids emotion, actually cried for their mother's death, and decided just like, pretend that nothing happened, and it didn't happen, and decided to be stagnant. Decided to take back the scholarship from Ruby, basically a bit on a whole takedown Ruby like situation. I'm just like, what did Ruby do to you? Ruby and your son love each other, and that's a whole issue for you. Like, oh wow, he loves somebody who's not as rich as you, and it's a problem. Like, Mortimer, enemy number 1, Elaine number 2, and Cyril. Yeah, because definitely when they find out about Lydia and her twins and Sutton, it's about to be another situation going down with the Buford family. But yeah, season 2, yeah, a lot of people, Ruby need to get her lick back with each and every one of them. I mean, James and her, they're going to have to go through a lot of uphill battles because it's just like, how is she going to get through? Hopefully there's more than 6 episodes in the next season. I think season 3 is going to be the final season, but yeah, they definitely went through it this season. But anyway, guys, if you guys like the video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns. You guys subscribe to my channel, subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. Peace.